Building your confidence, getting fulfillment out of life, and getting the things that you want all require doing hard things. There is no getting around it. So how can we become more confident when it comes to facing challenges or doing something new? How can we create that unstoppable mindset and see doing those hard things as normal? And test how committed you are to getting the things that you want out of life, and if you have the mindset to get there. Well, that's what we're going to cover in this video. Welcome to the YouTube channel for Catch. My name is Sam and I'm the founder and lead coach here at Catch. Unshakable confidence is the key to getting everything that you want. So on this channel, we help you to build that unshakable confidence and become the most unstoppable version of you. If you want to work with us in any way, all that information is in the description box below. So what we've noticed online is there's a trend about the easy fix. How do we get rich quick? How do we jump to the end outcome? How do we become this unstoppable version of us, but do that in the quickest, easiest way possible and at the youngest age possible? Now, I understand the draw of that. We're all looking for ease, convenience, and we want to live that dream life. So the quicker we can get there or to the outcome, the better. And I've certainly had thoughts of that myself. How can I jump to the end? How can I build these, passive income streams and build a huge business and have this outcome on the world and find your dream partner, find all your friends, etc. What are the steps that I can take that will get me from A to B? And as life becomes more convenient, I think we're wired in this way, and through social media as well, and seeing others achieving the outcomes that we want at a young age, we can form this view that it should be easy and I'm not there yet, and I should be able to, like Netflix or Uber Eats, just hit a button and what I want should arrive, the next day. And this includes praying, manifestation, etc. It's all about, how can I get what I want in 24 hours without effort? How can the outcome that I want show up? Now, it is possible to achieve outcomes quickly and easily, and there are people who have done it. But that isn't the experience for most people most of the time. For most people most of the time, there will be challenges on the way to getting what you want. And in fact, facing those challenges and doing those hard things is what makes that outcome fulfilling. So if you're born into endless wealth, yes, you will have a life full of pleasure and fun and play, and the stress of having to earn money will not hang over you. However, if you're someone who has grown up working class, middle class, and then you've worked hard to gain an education, build a business, go get the job that you want, and therefore end up with more financial freedom, you will appreciate that so much more than someone who was given that as a child. And so I think what's missing in this mindset of quick and getting the outcomes that we want and building our confidence to get there is joy in the process. There's fulfillment in the process, and doing those hard things is what makes life enjoyable and gives us fulfillment. In fact, it's often the process of getting there that gives us the fulfillment and the joy, not actually getting the outcome. And we can see this because there are people out there with endless wealth, and we did a short on this, who are still not happy, and they still want more money, they want more power, they want to move to the tax haven. They don't see the joy in giving back to their communities in a way that we had before. And that's even exacerbated by social media because people can flex lifestyles that they don't have. And so it's normalized a lifestyle that's out of reach for most people. So how do we flip our mindset to have more joy in the now and enjoy the process and get the outcome that we want? And that's what we're covering in this video. That doing hard things and facing challenges is fulfillment, and having responsibility, having accountability for those outcomes and for the journey and what you learn and overcoming those difficulties is the fulfillment and joy in life. So for example, let's talk about exercise. And a lot of people online talk about exercise and looking physically good as a way to confidence, particularly in kind of male confidence coaching and dating coaching I've seen. Now, you can go to the gym and work out and look good, and that can build your external confidence. You can feel confident because you believe that you're better looking. However, when we speak to most people who get into the gym or into running or in cycling, something similar, what they feel proud of is not just the physical result, is the process. So they get lost in the process of getting faster, getting stronger, showing up for themselves, feeling good within themselves because they're investing in themselves and looking after themselves. And that also includes diet, nutrition, stretching, physio, massages, all the things that go around being healthy, not just looking a certain way. And so the energy around then going to the gym is, I want to do this hard thing to prove to myself that I can do it. I am investing in my own health, and therefore I also look good at the end. But I'm confident in myself because I know I can do this hard thing, and I've committed to myself even when I'm tired or lacking motivation or aren't seeing results straight away. I am persisting and achieving that result. And that's why, and we did another short on CEOs being successful, and every single CEO that I've worked with personally has had an exercise regime, and often a strict one that included something long distance, so long distance running, long distance swimming, triathlons, etc. It's because it was a reflection of their personality and part of how they kept their mind clear and were able to give themselves some mental space from their work. But also it was just reflective of they're the kind of person that overcomes challenges and wants to get to a result. So they'll do everything that they need to do to get there. And one term we've seen online, which is a helpful reframe, is choose your hard. So you can choose your hard of going to the gym, which is difficult, but the other hard is not being healthy. And as you get older, particularly having more health issues, recovering slower from injuries or surgeries and problems, being on more medications, and perhaps having less mobility when you're older. So what hard are you going to choose? Are you going to choose exercise now? Or are you going to choose potential difficulties in the future? Choose your hard. And if we think about dating, there's a narrative online about how we have to grow as individuals to be in a healthy relationship and be able to communicate and have boundaries and have self-worth and self-respect to pick a good life partner, and how we should have high expectations of a partner, but also ourselves to build that healthy relationship. Now, is that going to be hard in the short term to do the work on yourself and be able to open up and be vulnerable and communicate your emotions and show up for someone? Is it hard to have the responsibility and the commitment of a relationship and the challenges that come with that? Yes. But it can also be hard to be single and be lonely. Now, there may be more ease in that in the short term, but in the long term, most people want a family and a long-term committed relationship, whether that's with one or multiple people. And so what's our hard? Is it being lonely, which may be easier than going out and dating and being vulnerable and working on ourselves? Or do we choose hard of perhaps being lonely in the long term? So again, that might help reframe what seems difficult of going on dates, putting ourselves out there. And we just did another video on, embarrassment is the key to success and confidence is uncomfortable. And we explore these topics in more detail and how being embarrassed or being rejected or facing challenges is part of getting what you want. So again, choose your hard, or perhaps you need to just accept that embarrassment and rejection is part of the process to a successful dating life in your mind, or that happy, healthy, long-term relationship. And the same could be said for wanting to make a lot of money. Now, that could involve changing careers at some point in your life. It could involve retraining, taking on new skills. It could involve setting up a business, which involves investment or taking risk. But overcoming those challenges or learning about marketing, sales, the things you need to develop a business, that will get you to perhaps more free time, or working online, or having more passive income, or having a positive impact on the world. Now, it's going to be hard to set up a business and make it successful and find out what your customer wants, create products or services that they want, etc. But it will be worth it for that outcome. So choose your hard. Are you choosing the persistence of applying to lots of jobs and perhaps retraining, or working hard to get the promotion? Or are you working hard towards your own business? Or are you choosing the hard of being stuck where you are, perhaps unfulfilled, or in an easy job that you don't enjoy, or something that pays the bills but doesn't have an impact? Or you're tied to a desk, or being somewhere 5 days a week that you don't want to be, or being in financial difficulty. So again, choose your hard. And if we can reframe that being confident and achieving what we want is about doing hard things, and that's part of the process, or we're choosing our hard, that will help us find the motivation and the discipline to get towards what we want. So if you're in one of these situations now and there's something that you want, but you're not sure how to get there, or it feels insurmountable, or it feels difficult, my question to you would be, are you choosing the right hard? Are you accepting that doing hard things is part of the process? Where are you choosing short-term ease and pleasure over long-term fulfillment? Are there things that you are avoiding, or responsibility that you're avoiding, that are getting in the way of that fulfillment and that happiness? What are the things that the version of you that already had that relationship, career, business, body, what's the version of you that already has that? What are the skills and behaviours that they have? And what do you need to do to get there? Or perhaps you're struggling with your self-belief, or your self-worth, or your confidence. And what do you need to work on to build that? If you can answer those questions truthfully, figure out the outcome that you want and what you need to overcome to get there, and see that difficult things as part of that process and choose your hard, then you're most of the way there. Hope that helped. Thank you for tuning in and for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing. Would love to hear your reactions below and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.